Okay, so hello Game Shapers and others. This is Love. Going to make a lentil soup with fresh tomatoes, or fresh tomato soup with lentils perhaps. It's more accurate. First of all, you need lentils. These green lentils, really nice. I have soaked these in water for about an hour or two before. You don't have to do that, but I like to soak the lentils before because they don't sort of fall apart when they cook if you soak them, and they don't need to cook as long, so everything gets faster, more lenient. So let's start with the lentils. Then we have the spice. So first thing to think about is that different spice wants to be treated differently. So for example, black pepper basically wants to be treated like almost like a fresh herb. You want to ground it fresh and then put it in the last. You don't want to heat black pepper up. On the other hand, these are the spices. We got aniseed and this cumin. I'm not sure what the English name for this is. I'll put it in the description. These are more of your sort of Indian curry type spices. They want to be fried in fat before you cook them to make the most of the taste. Basically, you want to give them a quick fry up in fat to extract the taste of these spices. Same with chili. I wanted to use fresh chili, but I didn't have any. And then we're going to use licorice root, because licorice root goes really well with tomatoes and chili, and that kind of spice also goes good with the lemon. Basically, when you make tomato soup or tomato sauce, normally in restaurants they use sugar to sort of balance the bit of sourness that could be in the tomatoes. Tomatoes taste better when there is some sweetness to balance them. I don't want to eat sugar, so I found that licorice root does the job really good instead. So, what we do is get some of those spices that we want to use as a sort of base for the soup. Is aniseed is also a bit licorice-esque in the taste, so that complements the licorice root really well. And then we have some coriander that we're gonna put in here too. I like spices, so I'm gonna use a fairly generous amount of these here. So freshly ground spices are just incomparably more tasty than ready ground spices. So some sunflower oil. We're gonna use olive oil for the soup, but I don't want to use olive oil for the frying. Because olive oil doesn't like to be heated up that much. We're just going to put the lentils in there. So cooking lentils for soup is just the same as cooking them for some other type of food, except that for soup, you want to keep the lid on to preserve all the fluid. I use quite a generous amount of water because I like my soups to be nice and soupy. So put that in there with some, where do I have it? Okay, some vegetable stock. This is like real vegetable stock. You can use these types of stock too, but these often contain like yeast and a lot of salt and stuff. So I prefer to use these like real stock. That's just basically just vegetables cooked down to concentrate. A generous amount. Right. So now we're gonna let those lentils with the spices. And since these lentils are pre-soaked in water, this is gonna take about 15 to 20 minutes at most, so you have to keep track of them so you don't get overcooked. Right, next up, the tomatoes. So, making soup from fresh tomatoes is a bit of a project, but it's worth it. Basically, first of all, you want to peel the tomatoes and take away the seeds, because those parts taste great in fresh tomatoes. They don't taste so great when you're making soup or if you're making sauce. You just want the meat of the tomatoes, so we're gonna separate that. And the way to do it is to take the tomato, cut a little cross on top like this. Okay, so after you've cut these little crosses on top of the tomatoes, putting them in a bowl like this, you just pour boiling water on top. And leave it for a couple minutes, no more. And this makes the peel of the tomato loose, so you can peel them really easily. Right? Take the time in the meantime to cut this up here. Okay, save that for later. Also, when you cut the tomato in half, like after you've peeled off the skin, like that, you can see it just falls off basically. When you cut the tomato in half, don't cut exactly in the middle, cut a bit to the side of that thing you want to remove there. That way you only need to cut it away once. Yes, make sure you have really clean hands for this. I just washed my hands an extra time because I'm gonna get in these tomatoes and go around with my fingers, or you can use a spoon, but clean hands. So you just get rid of the seeds like that, leaving all the just the meat of the tomato like this. Now that's done, we have all the tomatoes here nicely separated from the peel and the seeds. Now we're going to squeeze some lemon juice in there. And some garlic. I like garlic. Not everyone likes a lot of garlic, but I do. Peeling garlic. Done like that. Just like with the tomatoes, just falls off. So you crush each clove under the knife like that. Peel just falls off. So we're gonna be mixing this, so you just need to put them in whole like this. Like that. I'm also going to add a bit of licorice root powder to this. This is just licorice roots that's been extracted. It's pure licorice. Not too much, because you don't want the soup to taste licorice. You just want this to sort of work like a sweetener in the soup. And licorice powder is really strong taste, so be a bit careful like that. So now you just throw this in a blender. Okay, so make sure that's properly mixed into a really smooth sauce, so you can really blend with the soup. So I'm also going to use some lemon peel, slicing this up. I'm going to make that now. Make sure the lemons are well rinsed for this, preferably organic, so you don't get some shit with the peel. There we go. Okay, so that was my daughter and her friend. So, fresh ginger. This is the way I prefer to prepare it, because I really only want the juice out of this. And now you can just take it and squeeze it into your tomato mixture, just like that. Again, clean hands. Okay, so the lentils are just perfect. Just perfect. Yeah, you want the lentils to be basically ready at this point, because the tomatoes, you don't want them to cook for a long time, just a little bit. So this is when we pour the tomato portion of the soup in, add the lemon peel, and the onion. So then we're just going to put it back to boil for a few more minutes, 5 minutes tops, for the tomatoes. Soup is ready. touch, black pepper. So this is a delicious bowl of soup. Like usually you want to combine lentils with some kind of bread or grain or rice to make complete protein. So you can just, even if you're not, even if you don't want to eat a lot of bread, you can just take some hard bread or just a little bit piece just to complete the lentils for protein. Yeah, that's wonderful.